So I think the worst problem nowadays
environmental issues such as
hunger
global warming,
and poverty.
economic crisis, which affects all
poverty,
of us.
Hunger,
war,
homeless people,
and
girls
war crimes, human rights,
prostitution,
homeless,
wars all over the world.
I'm worried
and,
about the problem.
poverty.
I'm really afraid of the war because I face innocent a lot of things in Sri Lanka. I think that it's the most important problems in the world right now.
Our planet is so beautiful from above. The destruction and death below seems unimaginable. Is there no way the world's peoples can't come together and solve our planet's problems?
1.2 billion people in developing countries can't afford food to survive, even though in developed countries, overeating is a major health hazard.
1 out of 6 people drink unsanitary water.
Every minute, a woman dies giving birth. By the end of this film, 5 will be dead.
2/3 of the world's poor are women.
The United Nations has brought worldwide attention and global coordinated action to solve these problems in its 8 achievable Millennium Goals, like the hopes and fate of billions. By 2015, the UN plans to
eradicate extreme poverty and hunger, achieve universal primary education, promote gender equality and empower women, reduce child mortality,
Improve maternal health, combat HIV, malaria, and other diseases.
develop a global partnership for development, and ensure environmental sustainability.
Although these goals sound conclusive, the UN has achieved only moderate progress and in some cases slipped backwards. Despite the goal of eradicating hunger, for example, 18 million more people are now starving, and the environment worsens due to our swelling population and greed and industry, a widening ozone hole, a warming planet. It's quiet from above, but desperation and ignorance and beauty and hope lie below.
We went to the UN and interviewed Mr. Maher Nasser, Director of Information Services, to find out why the UN's goals hadn't been reached.
The Millennium Goals are very important to humanity. Why has the UN been unable to achieve many of them?
Well, the UN is not the one that will actually be implemented the MDGs. It is the member states, it's the different
We were
countries.
reminded that only the UN can bring together the global community to solve global problems.
The UN is the main forum and the only forum that can become the place for different countries, different interest groups, different organizations, international or groupings, to come together to talk.
And it is only as strong as its member states, for they set the goals and they achieve them.
Much of the work has to take place in the developing countries themselves. When you talk about improving the percentage of children who are achieving or going through and finishing primary education, this is something that the countries have to do themselves. The empowerment of women and achieving gender parity in the education, the work to confront HIV/AIDS and other diseases such as malaria. It is work that has to take place mainly in the developing countries themselves.
We learned that many African countries failed to bring their people out of poverty and starvation because of the recent food crisis and wars, and a bitter drought intensified by global warming ruined crops. Thus, climate change dramatically affects the lives of people in developing countries who didn't create the problem and are the least able to cope with it.
The real threats that are facing humanity now are, if you look at the global warming and climate change, it is something that is going to affect every single country.
In its unity of humanity, the UN gives us our only path to solve these global problems we all face. It gives us a table to talk together at. And although the world hasn't reached every Millennium Goal, through the UN it has made extraordinary progress toward reducing poverty, starvation, ignorance, and suffering in the world. But it takes time.
By being dynamic, by being responsive, by being the ground that the member states come together to agree on solutions. It cannot work without the member states, and the member states cannot work without it. I think it's a relationship that basically can develop and produce results as we have seen in the past, and I think it will continue to do so.
We are truly all together on this planet. Who should solve humanity's problems? Ultimately, each and every one of us. And don't think you can't. You can.
Whether it's by recycling or buying organic or fair trade, or by starting projects that improve the world, through the simplicity and profoundness of our everyday decisions, each and every one of us can help.